If you've ever walked out of a meeting or a presentation and thought, what did I just say? Or had that sinking feeling of, I wish I hadn't said that, I wish I hadn't done that, you're not alone. Confidence killers creep into the way we speak all the time. But what if I told you that by tidying up just a few small habits, you could speak with more confidence every time you communicate? Well, today we are cleaning up your mess. If you tidy up just 3 common communication traps, I can promise you that you will stop second guessing your performance. Welcome to Read the Room. Let's dive in. First up, diluters. These are repetitive words or phrases that add zero substance to what you're talking about. You know what these are. The usual suspects include kind of, sort of, like, or they can get fancy and sound something like, due to the fact that. The key is that they're repetitive and that they don't add anything to what you're talking about. Teddy Roosevelt used to actually call these parasite words and phrases because they don't just not add something, they actually eat the whole message around it. So the problem is that these diluters are by nature unconscious to the speaker. They don't know they're doing it. That's why they're so repetitive. So the only way to change something is to be aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, you're just going to continue to do it. So if you think that you don't have these, I say think again. And I offer you that no matter what you think is your current state, you must record yourself and play it back in order to know if you're using diluters, and if so, which ones they are. People are often very aware of and so they try to clean up and they replace it with something else that's sneaky. If you hate the idea of hearing yourself played back, I understand. Nobody likes to hear or see themselves played back, especially the first few times. And we know if we feel like we did a bad job, it's even more cringe. But the thing is, your listeners already heard it. I'm going to give you a little story. I once walked into a coffee shop with 4 lollipops on the back of my jeans. Day before, my son had a meltdown, and to calm him down, we gave him lollipops. Well, he doesn't like to eat lollipops. He just likes to take off the wrapper, lick the lollipop, and apparently throw it on the front seat of the car. Well, I get out. I'm in the coffee shop. I'm ordering my coffee, and this nice gentleman comes up to me, and he goes, Miss, you have a lollipop on your jeans? And so I'm like, oh my God. And I take it off, and he's like, there's more. Oh my God. So come to find out, it's not just 2, 3, 4. This is what your filler words are. This is where it connects with speech. You can't hit delete. You said them. You say them. If you're using them, you're probably pervasively using them. Let this be your coffee shop moment. Be really mortified when you hear that played back and then just ditch it. I have never left the car again without making sure that I don't have lollipops on my pants. It's that simple and it's hard to look at, but please play yourself played back. Be your own gentleman in the coffee shop and just call your own stuff out, okay? So the only way is to record yourself, play it back, clean it up. Done. Number 2, stop over-explaining. Make your point and stop. This is a simple one, but I have seen this is very, very difficult for people to actually change. And I think about it like this. It almost looks like when people start going and going and going and going and going and going, you're like, stop. Nobody can get a word in, right? Clean it up. Put a period. Stop. Pause. The image I think about is like somebody who's learning how to ride a bike and they get on the bike and they're going, right? And like then once they're going, yay, but then they can't stop the bike. The experience of watching that is out of control. Like you're worried about the person. Like, oh no, I hope they don't fall. That's what it comes across. You're actually sabotaging your confidence in yourself because it's like you don't know how to hit the brakes. And for your listeners, they feel out of control for you because they can see that you don't know how to stick the landing. Okay. How do you practice this? It's just repetition. And I recommend that you start with a colleague, your boss, small meetings, your mom, anybody that will just talk to you, and you don't even have to tell anybody you're working on it. Make a shorter point and stop. Practice stopping. Dismount. Stop. And it actually takes some skill set to learn where is the pause. Punctuate it with a downward inflection. Stop the thought, okay? So you have to repeat it if you know you're over-explaining. That one is very painful for people when they leave meetings. They go, oh my gosh, I should have stopped. Right. So if you've ever felt that, then start working on it where it doesn't matter and you're just building that muscle memory, okay? Clean that up. Trap number 3, don't bury the lead. This comes from journalism, the lead being the headline, the who, what, when, where, how. Tell us the big idea first, then give us the details, okay? So I hear this a lot from senior leaders where they get frustrated with more junior people. This is actually one of the biggest barriers to people taking more responsibility in meetings is that they're diving into the guts of the content before we have a sense of what it is we're talking about. So it would sound something like, you're giving a briefing of what happened. And well, we had this meeting with a client and they were really interested, but they had some questions about, the supply chain. And there were some issues specifically in the Southeast and Southwest. And so we were going through that. And then we found out that we've got some really good ideas for how to fix that problem. But we still also, when we keep going, the contracts with the lawyers and okay. There's too much information here. We're just going on and on. So what would the lead be? We secured a deal with the client. There's some issues with the supply chain, and we need to talk about the legal contracts. Now, we will proceed to go through these details, but we're not embedding all of them at the front end out of fear that somebody's going to not think we know what we're talking about if we don't enmesh all the things that we know they want to hear. If we say a message, a big idea that matters to our listeners, they are then leaning in. They can't wait to hear more. This is anticipatory. But for you, all of that mess also makes it really hard to navigate the rest of the meeting. So this idea of a big idea, don't bury the lead, give them what they need to know. That is something that even seasoned executives need to continue to refine and work on. Journalists, YouTube, creating a thumbnail. It's like we need those things that catch people. You can continue to refine that for the rest of your career. Today, we're not working on the pro level. We're just clean up the mess. If you are currently giving all the details on the front end, give a version of the big idea. And once you start doing that, you can start getting really good at that by getting repetition, by debriefing and making sure that you're aware of how you did it and how you could do it better. So those are the 3. 1, stop using the diluters. Number 2, stop over-explaining. And number 3, don't bury the lead. Do those 3 things, see what happens. It's not about doing more. It's about cleaning up what isn't necessary. And then you might not have to do so much work. So I hope you found this helpful. If you found this insightful, if you found these tips useful, please like this video, hit subscribe, and share with somebody who could use a confidence boost. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next episode.